Darryl, it's been quite an eventful evening. Just give us your thoughts on the game, first of all, if you could.
Probably like the evening at the start. I thought Salford came out and just played with loads of energy and speed, and obviously we get a marker decision wrong, and then line break. Max gets knocked out. So it completely reshuffles us. We didn't really have anybody who played consistently at fullback before, so Jaden goes back there, does a pretty good job, I think. But with 12-0 down, we kicked to the corner, full length try. You're like, what's just happened there? So it was a little bit of chaos, really. I thought Salford created chaos with the way that they played. They offloaded, got a couple of tries, so you're 12-0 down in no time, going, okay, let's just see if we can start again. And so we gradually sort of get our way back into the game, scored 3 tries in the first half. I thought our second half performance was outstanding. I thought we just controlled the game, we were direct and aggressive. We conceded 1 try, but I thought our second half was great. First half was just a little bit of carnage and took us ages. Once that happens to you, it's hard to get hold of the game, and it took us a fair while. But yeah, look, I think we got quite a few things out of tonight. It was a tough game. I thought Salford played well, particularly in the first half, and it put us under pressure, and we had to dig our way out of a difficult situation, which we did pretty well.
The strange atmosphere tonight, wasn't it, with the Salford owners present, a lot of distractions here, and then the pitch invasion 5 minutes at the end. What's going through your mind at that point in time?
Oh, just make sure players are all right, really. I think that was it. But it wasn't an aggressive. I've been involved with a few of these in the past, and generally the fans have been pretty hostile. But that wasn't the case here, so it wasn't too bad. But it's uncomfortable, you don't want it to be happening in a ground. And but look, it is what it is. They've had a tough year. I think they've done well to get to the end of the year. I don't quite know how they've done it, but they've held themselves really well. The players and Paul and all the staff, they've done a great job. So though it's been tough, and you can't imagine unless you're in that situation how tough it's been. So I think they've done a great job to get to the end with dignity and to keep doing what they've done on the field. I think the last month from them has been really good. We get away from them a little bit tonight, but the last 3 games they've had a win, they've had a 1-point loss and a pretty close loss against Huddersfield. So they've been really competitive, and they got after us tonight. So there's a lot of spirit about the place, which is awesome.
You knew your playoff fate last night, didn't you? How does it feel to be in the top 6?
Yeah, delighted, really. I think we thought it would come to tonight. I always thought that'd be a tough game for all, just looking at what Catalan have been doing recently. And yeah, obviously for us last night, it took a little bit of pressure off the game, but I'm not sure it helped us, to be honest, for the game. For obvious reasons, it takes a little bit of edge off individual thinking, I would say, and I think it sort of showed slightly at the start of the game. I just thought we were a little bit loose-ish, and they sort of, they took advantage of that. But look, it's a great opportunity for us. I think, we know what we're doing. We'll play Lee away next week. We know what that place is like. It's a great atmosphere. There'll be a buzz about it. We'll be well supported. They're obviously at home. And they'll be big favourites, so we've got almost free hit, really. Just go and see what we can do, and I think we've earned that right. I think we've been great for most of the year. I was looking the other day, yesterday actually, just looking at what we've done this year. We've lost 7 games by 6 points or less. 6 games by 4 points or less. So we've earned the right to be here and giving ourselves a shot at doing something special. And like I say, every game we play will be free hits, really. I think everybody will be favourites. I keep mentioning the bookies odds. We're not expected to do anything in these playoffs. I'm telling you, that's what Betfred says. I'm telling you. So
he's been wrong before, I'm sure. Just lastly from me, how much of a loss is Max Jowett? Obviously.
Yeah, it's disappointing, that one, isn't it? It's Max just come back, played great last week, didn't get a chance in this game, in the blink of an eye he's out of the game. But these are the things that happen out there. I mean, it's disappointing for Max and for us. Josh Rock's done some outstanding things this year, and he'll get an opportunity next week. And look, I feel for Max because he's worked really hard to get back in the team, and he's held himself really well. And then this happens to him, so yeah, it's really, really disappointing. We've just got to make sure his season goes on. I think that's the key thing.
Do you feel as though not having that pressure in the playoffs can bring more out of your players?
Well, I think at the moment, I think that's when we're at our best. This team, the way we are, the mentality that we show against the teams when we're expected when we're not expected to win, I think has so far this year brought the best out of us. So, we'll see.
At what point during the year did the hope you make the playoffs turn into a belief that you will make the playoffs?
I think it was. I don't know if there's a definitive point, but we were always talking about it, and once we sort of started being in and around the top six, and we beat a couple of the better teams, then the sort of words that I would sort of drumming home to the players, you could see it was starting to filter through, and I think it's been a sort of almost a sort of drip feed of maybe 10 players believing we could, and then it becomes 12, and then it's just gradually sort of crept up on us that we go, well, we'll probably have a go at this. I mean, after last week, I think that was probably a big one. After last week when we did what we did there, you could see a couple of players going, well, we have a chance here, so it's like I'd say there hasn't been one sort of penny drop moment. I think it's just been a gradual sort of creep up on us that bit by bit it's turned to that belief has turned into the reality across the whole squad.
How much of a moment will you sort of call on that Leeds game at home with the Lino drop goal? That was like a playoff intensity rugby game, wasn't it? And you guys came through, so you can call on that.
Yeah, well, I think it's, we've had a couple of those. We beat Cass at home when we were under the pump, with a drop goal, Mason again. So we have won a couple of tightish games, and I think when you come to this time of year, you expect it's going to be that way. If both teams are playing well, then it can come down to golden point sort of territory, and I just think we've got to be good in those sort of instances. I think both halves. Truey played really well second half. Today, Mason was the best player on the field. Last week, I just think the challenge for those guys is to go they're playing against the guy who's created most opportunities in the comp next week. Lamb's been outstanding. So the challenge is for those boys to be able to manage those situations when we come down to them.
You put 40 on Lee last time you went there. Is that going to count for anything at all?
I don't think so. I only sort of. I've been saying it a little bit. We've had players who've only come into Super League this year. Quite a few, to be honest, Stephen. Harvey Smith hasn't played in certain places. Some of our overseas players haven't really played Super League and in those places. But we have been there and we have played there and we have won there. So there's a confidence that we're not going into an unknown environment. And I think that's why this year's been so great for us. Is we've just picking up knowledge and experience all the way through. But I don't think it counts for anything. We've played them another twice and they've beaten us on both of those occasions. But very tight games. Nothing in them. So I think if we play well, then it's a 50-50 game. That's the way I see it. And Lee have been playing well. They're on a decent run of victories, so they'll be confident, and we've got to go there and be the best that we can be. I think if we're that, then I think we're difficult to play against. So it should be. I think playoffs are set up to be outstanding this year.
What do you put this sort of big game mentality down to? Have you been involved in squads before that have been able to raise the level so much for the big games and the opposite for the lesser games? Why is it happening within the squad?
I think we've got quite a few players who've sort of been at Wakefield for a while, and I think Wakefield have been good at that for a number of years. You know, being really good against the top teams, especially at home. I don't know. It's very difficult to put your finger on, but I think we're just building experience. And you know, some of the times when you go into a game and you're expected to win, I don't think we've managed them that well at times this year. We handled the one a couple of weeks ago at Cass, and I don't. You know, tonight I was a little like, oh, we're coming into this game. But I think it's just an experience thing, and we've got a lot. We are quite a young team. You know, we've got a lot of young players out there. But yeah, they're all lessons, and you know, we're going to go into our first playoff series and see how good we can be. See how far we can go. I think it's a good opportunity. You know, we're not in there to make up the numbers. That's for sure. You know, we're in there to go and have a pop at it.